Good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my Halloween music. Restream gave me a little extra this morning. So that was fun. I got to use something different than like lo-fi or down hop or whatever I've been using. So that was creepy and fun. Let's get my face up here. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Healing Hour. I am your host, Sarah Fargo O'Brien. I am excited as usual. I'm real excited, guys, on the days that I have guests. And part of it is like, I love having conversations with people, therapist here, extrovert, all of that. And I love spending face-to-face time with people that I don't get to see very often, but I've gotten to work with, or, we get to like exchange social media stuff. So I get really excited when they're on because I get to spend like one-to-one face-to-face time with them. And I don't get to do that very often with the people that I work with that are not my clients that I do therapy with. And that's just way different than hanging out with my colleagues. So I'm really excited to have Nic Angai-Galindo on today. We got to work on actually the same project. That's where we met, where Trevor and I met as well. Nic knows Trevor too. And so Nic spent like a lifetime in corporate and here recently has started her own business. And she's a writer, author, publisher. And we're going to hear all about what she's doing and how this has been healing for her. And she's one of the first people I thought of because I've been watching her journey on LinkedIn. And I know because of our time in the Bully Book, like what she's been through in her corporate jobs. And so there is like nothing truer than entrepreneurship equal healing for Nic. So you guys are going to get to like, it's really fresh for her too. So you're going to get to hear how like amazing that has been for her life. Even though entrepreneurship comes with challenges. I am all over the damn place today, guys. I just came from a telehealth appointment. I'm like rushing, I'm getting this on, but I got my Halloween. I'm ready. I got my hocus pocus. Oh, look, another glorious morning makes me sick. Indeed, I'm not a morning person. My cousin gave me this cup. It's perfect. And it's perfect for today. And I love their hair. Look at that. So cute. And I am drinking some delicious coffee that I got fresh from the coffee farm in Hawaii. And it is such good coffee. I wish I would have bought like 5 bags. And super fresh, obviously, right? Like farm into the bag. Now it's at home with me. As you can see, I probably don't need coffee. I'm all over the place. So let's take 3 deep breaths to get grounded. I need it probably more than you, but feel free to join me. And then I will bring up our guest for today. Oh, let me get to my chat too. I'm sure somebody's in here. Nic's in here. Yes. Yay. She's coming up in a minute. Awesome. Thank you, Nic, for being here. Andrew's here. Good morning, Andrew, from Canada. Nic and I are over here on the East Coast. Maybe not as cold as you, but it's still been pretty chilly. Okay, let's do 3 deep breaths, and then we'll get started for today. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Extend that exhale. That's what's going to leave you feeling more balanced and calm and centered in your nervous system. So breath number 1. And exhale. Breath number 2. Exhale. Breath number 3. And exhale. And I apologize if you heard some grunting. My dog is laying directly behind my chair and is grunting and snoring occasionally. So hopefully nobody starts barking, but that's what we have going on. So without further ado, let me bring up my dear good friend and colleague, Nic.
Hi.
Nic is here. I was telling Trevor when he was on, I was like, well, if I was really good, I'd be like Jason and have like his little like clap background thing. But I don't. So then you just get this from me.
Okay, so now I know I have to go like this next time I see them.
There's our buddy. Hi, Jason. We're so
Hello,
happy that you are
Jason.
joining us today. somebody new for me. Lee, hi.
Hi, Lee.
Okay, she must know Nick. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'll pop up your comments, guys, as I can, but I'm having a conversation with my girl here, so I'll do what I can. But please drop them in there. We'll respond to you after the fact on LinkedIn. So if you have anything, let us know. Nick, tell us where you are calling in from today and a little bit about, who you are, what you're about, what kind of work you do in the world.
Well, first off, thank you for having me, and thanks everyone who's joining. I'm excited to meet some new people, and I see some friends in the audience. I am coming to you from Long Island, New York. It's actually a little bit chilly here. I'm
Yes,
not
it is here too.
like really happy about how quickly the weather dropped a bunch of degrees. Um, and I was just telling my husband, "Oh, can we move?" I'm like, I'm tired of the cold now. And what's really funny is I actually don't have to leave the house to go to work anymore.
Right.
And I was looking, at a video recently on my phone, and it was like the blizzard whiteout. And I was filming it and going, okay, off I go to work now. Bye bye. And I was thinking, whew, that's one plus this year. I don't have to get out and shovel the snow and then go drive to work in a blizzard.
Yeah,
So,
right. Me either. Me either. That's one of the perks, right? One of
yeah,
the perks. Yeah, at least you just
exactly.
step back out into that. Just look at it pretty from the window, right? Like the
Right?
leaf could fall
I
on
hear
the
you.
outside.
Yeah. So I'm Nick. I am the founder of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. As of February this year, I am in business for myself. Yay!
Yes.
I know it's like
Congratulations.
I feel like I've always been, but at the same time, it's really hard for me to believe that I am just closing up on month 9. I know, and it's because I did some publishing around my full-time job in the 2 years prior, but this is full on entrepreneurship this year.
Awesome.
Um,
How's
so
it been?
it's
How's the transition
been
been?
interesting. Like all, not all. Some of what I thought that I would do, like I was so excited when I left my job. I'm like, oh, I'm going to sit in the Panera. I'm going to have my office sandwich and my soup, and I'm going to work. And, I'm going to go to the library and work. And yes, that hasn't happened. And a big part of that is actually me pushing myself outside of my comfort zone.
Mm,
Um, you know, I'm a homebody and I'm very used to my little spot. Um,
I
so
hear
that, yeah, that's been hard because I'm used to going out to work. I'm used to working with a team and being around people all day.
yes.
So it has been a challenge to be
Yes.
by myself as much as I am. And I
I
wouldn't
feel
say
that.
lonely, just here physically alone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think it was just compounded when I lost my puppy this
Yes.
year, May 4th. So, you know, I had so many dreams. Like I was looking at another video, Sarah, like a couple of summers ago, where I was sitting outside working under an umbrella on this laptop. And he was in the chair next to me, and I had a little sign that said study buddy. And I was telling him that next summer mom's going to be home and she's going to run her own business and we're going to be together. And it took 2 summers. But I was so looking forward to being with him this summer, just,
Yeah.
taking him to the park. And I was telling him, you're old now, so it's okay. You could sleep on a blanket while I work. And I think that
Yeah.
spending the first 3 months of entrepreneurship, really caring for him, feeding him with a syringe, taking him to the doctor like 3 times a week, um, that really put me in a space and starting my business in a mental headspace.
Yeah.
Um, so, I have no regrets because I got to be here with him. And I
Exactly.
think what happens if I were working full time?
Right. You
Um,
wouldn't have had all that time at home.
I know. And it did also feel like, shoot, this is the time that I really need to be punching it because these are my first 3 months. Um, so it was a bit of a conundrum there. But it's been a hell of a year.
I bet.
That's all
And
I have to say.
And I feel you on the transition. Now, I've been in business for myself almost 10 years, and
Wow.
yeah, right. I feel that too. Can't believe it. And I spent the first, 4 years in an office, sharing an office space with another therapist who had her own private practice. And prior to that, I'm with you. I worked at agencies. I
Right.
had a team. I went to an office every day.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then even when I was in private practice and in office before COVID and I went virtual, I would go in office and see my clients in person and like see my office mate and whatever. But still, and then it became even more kind of siloed when I went all virtual. And now I'm in my home office and don't leave. I actually don't even like get in the car like 5 days a week. Like I'm just at home and I can't walk to any place from my house. So I'm just at home. And that's fine with me. I've made peace with that. But when I first left my agency, like job where I had a team, like and
Mm-hmm.
ate lunch with people and like did all of that and into my full-time private practice, I feel exactly what you were feeling. I was used to being around people. It's an adjustment. It's how do I work with, but I'm not like alongside, I guess, with others, right? So you have to be like creative and creating your own like colleague support
Yeah.
system, kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah. And the awesome thing about entrepreneurship is like you're not stuck with whatever people you work with. Although all of my colleagues and coworkers have been pretty awesome. Every place I've been, it's the
Mhm.
supervisors that haven't been so awesome. But when you work for yourself, you're not just like stuck with whoever else is at that job with you. You get to curate your own community, which you are
Yes.
already doing, and hopefully like you lean into more now. And now I like really value the once or twice a year I travel to like meet up with people that I work with on the internet. And I wish I could see you guys all the time, but it helps. Like I make a point
Yes.
now to do that, in my work travel to meet up with you guys because you're not here locally with me, but you're my people. I wish you all were here locally with me and probably vice
Yeah.
versa.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, right. And so if I get the opportunity, even if it's just for a weekend or whatever, I try to do that. And I'm sure like you will step into that as you are able. But that yeah, you gotta get creative and know that it is an adjustment. Like you
Yeah.
spent your whole career like at a place with other people. So it's gonna feel different. And we have to like your whole nervous system has to get used to, okay, well, I'm here and I'm here by myself. And I'm so sorry about your baby. I totally feel that right when COVID hit, my first baby that I have on my arm here, my
Oh, I'm
pearl.
sorry.
This is my
Yeah.
pearl. She was my first baby. She's not the one behind me. But she got diagnosed with Cushing's like in those first couple of months of COVID. And she only lived like 10 months after that. And so it was she used to come to the office with me occasionally when I saw clients in person because she was just really good and really chill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They like seeing her. But then when I was all virtual, but still going to my office, I just brought her with me every day, right? And
Yeah.
we just hung out every day and until she wasn't around anymore. And you always wish you could have more time, but I'm glad that I could have that time and I wouldn't have had it right same if I didn't work for myself and I had to go somewhere. I wouldn't have been able to spend all day with her or just have her in the office with me, even though she was just there.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that has been like probably one of the healing things of being an entrepreneur for me is getting to spend more time with my dogs, like, and not
Yes.
having to go somewhere. And just that little like extra throughout the day. Like mine sleep like all day anyways, but they like to come up here in my office. It's funny. They now like sit at the gate at the bottom of the stairs when I'm like getting my coffee ready, just looking expectantly up the stairs, like, are we going to office today, Mom? Are we going to the office today? Do we get to come up there with you? We're just gonna sleep, but I want to sleep up there. And so, it's a little something because I'm with you. I'm by myself all day. My spouse gets up at like 4:45 and leaves the house by 5:30 and works a 6 to 2:30 shift. And then, goes to the gym, drives home. By the time I'm, I don't finish my day till like 6 or 6:30 because I start later because I'm not a morning person. You guys saw my cup. Not a morning person. So we kind of work opposite schedules. Like,
Mhm.
and so for 12 plus hours a day, that I'm awake, he's gone um at his job location, right? And I'm just here with the dogs. So I feel that. How are you finding how are you finding your way, as you adjust?
You know what I am? I think that that is something that I've grown into now. So I actually enjoy being here by myself.
Yeah.
And in moments like I feel it, I remind myself that, for example, I can leave anytime I want. My neighbors across the street, her weeks sometimes would be lesser than others. So we spend time together. She might come here, I might go over there.
Nice.
We occasionally go shopping together, to the food store.
Yeah.
And every week I go to the grocery. It's like an errand, but it's also a way for me to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like a better way for me to manage my money now as an entrepreneur, because like you
Yeah.
buy what you need and you budget.
Yes.
Coming from a place where I had a job and what I did for my business was more to fill me up, and that was like extra. I
Yeah.
didn't think too much about going to the store and if I spent $300 on the grocery.
Yeah.
But now I go and I'm like, I am not spending $300 on the grocery. I mean, not only are things skyrocketing price wise,
I feel that.
but this whole experience just took me back in so many ways. And I actually found it healing, because it's almost like needed a need to get back in touch with, um it's not the old Nick. It's the Nick that lived in that time and I think appreciated things more.
Yeah, right. Like maybe the
Right?
deeper Nick.
Yeah, like there were times in my life as a single mom where it was a can of ravioli and sliced white bread for dinner with my son and I. Or
A hot
the
dog
handful of
and
times.
a can of canned
Yeah.
corn. Like this was me when I had no money. Yeah.
Yeah, and the handful of times I've had to go to like a food pantry, and then as time moved on, I was the one donating to the food pantry.
That's awesome.
And I remember juggling bills and saying, okay, well, there's not going to be any cable this month. To the point where it was everything on autopay. I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. The money just went in the bank and everything was paid, and I just went about my life.
That's right.
And now I'm here, and this week has been such a breakthrough for me. And so I feel it's so appropriate that this is a conversation this week,
Awesome.
because now that I'm going into the 10th month, I have really been thinking a lot and having a lot of conversations with my husband. And he's supported me from the very beginning, very, very beginning.
Good.
It's this week, I think, that I gained so much clarity in redefining what success means to me at this point in my life, right?
Yes.
Without saying, well, 2 years ago, success in your life was that,
Hmm.
so that made it bad. No, I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say, well, corporate was bad for me, this was that, this was that. And yes, I had my bad experiences, but
You
it's
learn too.
me and what I wanted that's changed. It's not the end,
Exactly.
external that's changed. I can put
Exactly.
myself anywhere I want to externally. I think now I want to be at peace, and I am at peace, and I am equating my worth, and in a way, to tying it to the financial gain. And I had to go back to where I was when I started this business, when I had the job and finances were not the concern.
Right.
I started it for various reasons. One, after working with two other publishers and being fortunate enough to trade for my work, I remember thinking to myself, would I pay $500, $800, forget $3,500 to be in an anthology? Would I really? And that's a weird question that I'm
That's a
asking myself
great question.
and saying on here as well. Aren't you a publisher? Aren't you doing anthologies? Don't you need people to like join?
Right.
Of course, all of that.
Of
But
course, right? But like,
I want to put myself in the space of people who would potentially work with me and why I would want to pay that money. And, you know,
yeah,
I don't want to move away from the fact that I did it because
right,
until I started writing, I always felt seen, but in not this capacity. I
right,
also never thought that I had what it took to be published. I also never thought that I would be able to afford being able to be published regularly.
right.
And so I wanted it to level the playing field affordably and could do that. And now I say to myself, you could still do it. You
Yeah,
are doing it.
that's
You're
right.
not struggling with your bills. You're just not used to not being able to be as free with your spending.
Like you have to be more intentional and more mindful.
Yes, and it's funny because like I'm like that's really funny because back then all I did was work and come home and work.
Yeah.
So the money was there, but I wasn't spending it
But you weren't
anyway.
doing anything with it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right?
right?
Yeah, we just collect it.
Yes. And
And then
now,
yeah, and we put our worth in that, or like I've done the same thing. I'm like a workaholic in a lot of ways. And yeah, historically, like I've made more than my spouse pretty much the whole time we've been together, and just the way that it's turned out. And so that has been a big like I guess not only like work thing for me, but also like stress thing for me, like something that's always on my mind. And you probably
right.
get this now as an entrepreneur. Like, it's not that I don't have enough, but I'm always mindful of like, am I making enough? Like, am I staying with it? And
Yes.
it's yeah, and
And
it's trying to be like, well, how much do you actually need? So then you can have the peace because you had all the money before, right? But maybe not the peace. Cause like you said, I'd go to work all day and then I'd come back and work. So it's like, it's good to have it, but for what? Like I basically hoarded it. Like I've done the same thing,
right.
right? Like I just collect it and then it sits there, but I don't actually feel how I want to feel. I'm maybe not actually living the life I want to
Yeah.
live. And that's also become really clear to me in the last couple of years in my entrepreneurship. That's
I know.
so I've pulled back from how much money I was making by reducing my caseload so that I have space for healing, for my mental
Mhm.
health, for my relationship, for other things I need to do for my own self care. And so it's the same. I've had to like I've had to like work on the mindset shift of that's not who I am. That's not where all my worth is. That doesn't need to be my only focus in life. That doesn't measure success, and redefining that as well. Like, and we have to redefine that than the way the world gives
I
it to
think
us.
this past summer, it was such a healing time for me. I was grieving about my puppy. Um, I was celebrating entrepreneurship, and I had not experienced a summer like the summer I did this year in a very long time. I was able to work my schedule around almost my feelings, meaning it
Yes.
had been so long where I had to maintain control based on the alarm clocks, based on everything else. And it was
Yeah,
never about what I was feeling at the moment. So
absolutely.
there were days where I worked in the morning and in the afternoon, being able to jump in the pool and then go and lay in my hammock and take a nap. I mean, there was no hammock. And then when there was a pool last year, I very barely used it. And it's like an above ground, but the whole point was I really, after 4 years of being here in this home that I never thought that we would be able to afford to buy, um, experienced and enjoyed my backyard in a way I never have before. Like I have
Yeah,
this tiny 625 square foot house, but I live on a little over an acre. So the land is
nice.
huge.
Yeah,
And so we spend as much time outdoors as we can because it's so small inside.
That
And
makes sense.
my husband was so worried for my mental health the last 2 years because he kept saying, "You don't go outside. You don't go outside. You come home. You work till midnight. I'm calling you, telling you you're coming to bed. Then you work all weekend. He's like, I don't know. You
Yeah.
sit there from morning to night."
Like at your computer
Yeah, when I
inside.
wasn't working because
Yeah.
I was doing something. I was building a dream. But I think now, and it's funny that you brought up about being lonely. As these months have gone by, I keep reflecting on the last year of work, particularly. And I can't help but feel so much of that last year was preparing me for what was coming for me, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So the girl who used to work next to me was no longer there. And when I left the job, except for like the last month or two, I actually felt lonely in the job
Oh,
because
yeah.
so she wasn't in that space.
Yeah.
I was the only woman working in the company. Not that they ever treated me anyhow, but guys are guys and guys have their camaraderie and whatever. And because I worked in my office alone, and then the office next door had the other person, and then the main front office had like three people, I would hear the music playing, I would hear them laughing, I would hear them talking
Mm,
about like the ball game or jokes, and I felt very alone. Now
yeah.
they were not excluding me in any way,
Right.
but it felt weird. Like occasionally, I actually got up from my desk and walked outside and joined the conversation. But then I just felt awkward and went back. So,
Yeah.
and it's not that I can't work in a space of an office by myself, but
Right.
there's a difference. And so I started to feel really lonely. Like I actually would go home and tell my husband, I feel lonely at work.
Yeah.
Um, and now that I think about it, was that preparing me in some sense for what was coming? Just like my entire career has been in the skill trades, stone elevators, but always in a project manager position, front facing customers.
Yep.
And I purposely dressed like this today, and I'll share a picture later because this is how I dressed for work
I
in
know.
the first elevator company because I met clients. And
Yeah.
so when I went to the second elevator company, I went into work in this outfit in the first week in my little heels. And I remember one of the guys saying, "You're dressed to go to our party." And I'm thinking, I
I'm
go to
just
a
to go to
party
work.
much nicer than this. I'm like in
Right.
professional clothing right now. And, that was the same type of industry, but they wore
Interesting.
jeans and t shirts. And so I woke up kind of thinking about fitting in and
Right.
belonging,
Right.
and how the clothes doesn't make the person,
Right.
but you fit in wherever you are. And I remember like I joined as the operations manager and the owner telling me that, it's really unnerving you clip clopping around in your heels in the front because it's a hardwood floor. And he didn't mean it in a bad way. It just
Right.
came across very bossy. And I'm thinking, shit, I don't think I'm bossy. Well, I guess I am bossy, but whatever. Um, but people
It's
could
not
mix
the
it up.
heels that are doing it
No,
though.
people could mix up bossiness with being outspoken or seeing
Facts.
something and being like, "This is shit. We need to, sorry, we
No,
need to fix it."
you
And
do
so people
not
could
need to
feel that
apologize for cussing on this show. You
people
say
could feel that being bossiness, right? So
absolutely.
all of that to say that I came into this space as Nicole who worked for that company, as Nicole who worked for that company, who had to adapt and adapt. And I almost,
Yes.
in some ways, had to rediscover myself. So now I
Love
belong,
it.
period. I don't care
Mhm.
which room I walk into, I belong. And if I don't feel like I belong, I'm just going to walk back out,
That's right.
virtually, of course.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Some days I get up and I dress up and put on makeup. Some days I throw on my sweats and I'm not grouchy. I mean, not grungy, sorry, because I don't feel like putting on makeup, but I'm always like,
Yeah.
I keep myself to a standard because it feels good to me to work that way.
That's
Like
right.
I can't be that person that goes in a live in a shirt and pajama pants. Nothing's wrong with that. It's just not me. I don't feel ready.
I got it. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean
Well, and
that,
that's like that's the like congruence with yourself, right? And like
yeah,
alignment of like what feels good for you. And
yeah,
like you can wear that and I can wear a skull sweater and you're you and I'm me and we can have the same conversation, right? Or
yeah,
vice versa. Like
yeah,
it's not like you're doing what's good for you, I'm doing what's good for me. We show up in the space and we can make
And the
magic
clothes are
together.
just an example
Yeah.
of part of this
And I feel
healing
that
for
for
me.
work too, because I
Yeah,
was same. I mean, every place I worked, even when I worked like in the field, I was telling somebody this recently in Richmond City. Like, so I saw clients in the community, in their homes, in housing projects, in wherever. I was expected to dress business casual every day. I'm not a business casual person. I'm a casual person. Like I dress up, yes, for an event, for a party, for a wedding, but otherwise I want to wear sweats and t-shirts or baggy pants and Air Jordans or whatever the case is, right? And the other thing, like people know, like I have like a whole sleeve tattoo. And I've had tattoos that are visible, and some places like they want you to cover them up, or I cover them up for an interview so that they don't know that about me, I guess, and don't use that as judging. But and that doesn't make me less professional. And I've had to like walk back that mindset based on like other people's opinions and judgments coming at me,
yeah,
and recognizing that number one, I'm not comfortable in those clothes. So if I'm not comfortable in them, like it's hard for me to like be myself, be present, stay connected to my body, be in the room. Like I'm just like thinking and noticing like maybe how uncomfortable I am. So it's harder for me to like show up as myself. And
hmm,
so that does make a difference, in
yeah.
whatever way that it works for you, in whatever way feels comfortable for you. I mean, that's such a
And
that's such a good point.
the
And for
clothing
you,
is
it's like I could dress whatever. It's how I feel, but you want the freedom to choose,
yeah,
basically, right?
the
To
clothing is just
feel.
at this point a material example. You see me on screen that I could talk about, but it just transitions over into so many other things because it's like, you know, I was perceived as professional dressed this way in that first environment, but in the second environment, I was perceived as bossy. But
Right.
as soon as I don my jeans and whatever, but yet when I went out and saw other professionals that I used to be with, and they see me dressed that way, they're like, "Well, what job are you doing now?" So it's funny
So
people's
much judgment.
perceptions and how much you adapt
Yeah.
because of the situations you're in. And
Mhm.
so now another thing that I had to learn, and that has also been very healing for me, is that I have my own style of working that is most productive to me. And I
Yeah.
did not work that way in the various places I worked in
Same.
because there is structure and expectation, right? So you're
Absolutely.
not going to get off your desk every half an hour. You
Yeah.
know, they
Right.
expect that you're going to be sitting there,
Yep.
right? Um, the one of the places I worked, you start work at 8, so better be at your desk at 8. Okay, fine, that's fair enough, you know. But during training, I was actually told when it was wrapped up, and she was like, "Okay, well, we're finished for the day," and I shut down, and she's like, "We don't shut our computers down until 5. It's 2 minutes to 5." I was like, "What? You just said to me we're done." But anyway, the whole
Right.
point is you also adapt to the structure and the working style, right?
Yep.
So when I first came um,
Into
home
your
and was
Yeah.
working for myself, I was sitting in front of my computer at a certain time. I was working, and then I was like, you know, and I was like, okay, this discipline is good. But as time went on, I realized I was actually stressing myself out with the discipline.
Yep.
And I was like, what are you doing? You went into this so that you could have the freedom to be able to work in the way that best caters to your needs and allows you to maximize productivity,
There you
which
go.
for me is spending an hour working, getting up. Maybe I want to go do something. I'll go do some dishes, and then I'll come back and work for 2 more hours.
Yep.
In the early afternoon, I always struggled with feeling sleepy.
Yeah.
That's the thing about me. It's been like that for my whole life.
Okay.
And
Excellent to know that about yourself,
yeah,
right?
and I would get angry in work with myself because I'm like, nobody else is falling asleep. What is wrong with you? And
What's wrong with you,
yeah,
right?
that's
You're
what I
giving
thought.
yourself constant, yeah,
No,
right?
and now I'll work, Sarah, and let's say 1 o'clock. I'm like, I'm gonna have some lunch. I'm sleepy. Put on Project Runway, fall asleep on the couch, wake up 3 o'clock, go back to work, and I'm refreshed, and I go. It
That's
just
awesome.
works for me.
That's
So
amazing.
I am like, why am I in my head based on past experiences punishing myself because I feel that I am not following the structure that I should be to be successful. But
because
I
it's
am
hard to shed.
successful,
Yeah, it's hard to
right?
shed. It's hard to shed like the
Yes.
years you spent, like you said, molding and forming and conforming to that environment. And like you're saying it, right? And we see it, that environment does not work for a lot of people,
Right.
right? Like 8 a.m. does not work for me. I am not a morning person. I
My
do
son
not
works
want
at
to talk
night.
do not want to talk to somebody at 8 a.m. So I start my client day at 10:30 and 11. I
Right.
maybe can sit at my computer before that and do some emails, but really my brain is not on. So we talk about productivity and feeling like present, even like in my work. I can't do that before 10 o'clock
And I
p.m.
am a morning person.
Yeah.
So
My
I'm
spouse
like
says
the
that's why
opposite.
he works what he works. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I'm best like literally from probably like 10 to 2 are like my best hours where I'm going to
Yeah.
get the most done. And I push myself past that because I can't just work 4 hours a day. You understand?
Yeah.
Wish I could. But that was one of the things. I mean, I started every job I had started either at 7:30, 8 or 8:30. And like honestly, that just sucks for me. Like
Yeah.
and for me in my job to be expected to be like at my desk or meeting with a client is like forget about it. Like don't like I I can't be an effective therapist at
And
that time of
that's
day.
why I think entrepreneurs that figure out their best working style
Yeah.
have a better chance of success, because
Oh yeah, that's
I
great.
have always been a person that moves fast. And where I have tell myself to slow down, it's like it hasn't worked. And when I slow down, I make mistakes. I found that out about myself already. So I can speed through 4 to 6 hours intensely, insanely, and then I'd sleep. And then I wake up and I could do it again for another 4 to 6 hours. And I
Yeah,
do not beat myself up about it anymore.
good.
That why can't I wake up at 500 dot like everybody else and go to the gym and then come home so like I have this picture
Right,
in my head of what the perfect day is, but is that perfect day my perfect day?
right,
Right. So like
right.
I kind of had to come to terms with that myself and say, you are just you, Nick, and this is how Nick works. And the end. Why does it have to be and anything else?
Yeah, it doesn't.
So that
It's like the yeah, but. It's like we don't need that. Just like stay know who you are and stay true to it and don't make excuses for it and don't feel bad about it. Right?
another
Like
side of healing
accept it.
for me. So that was a really and truly another side of healing for me. And then even about going out, I kind of tell myself too, you have always done what you've needed to do when you've needed to do it.
Yeah,
And you go through this every time and you beat yourself up about
yeah.
procrastinating. But is it that you're procrastinating or you're just not ready, Nick? Because when you're ready, you've always gone and done it.
That's
So
right.
why am I again holding myself to these things that aren't even created by me? Right?
Because it
So
takes
and it is
awareness.
created in my brain. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. Like, I don't have to create it in my brain no matter what anybody tells me. But the point
That's
is,
right.
I had.
Yeah.
Right? So my biggest healing in all of this was this ridiculously deep level of self awareness that I have never felt in my life
Yeah.
anywhere. I can have the most honest conversations with myself,
Good.
the most honest conversations with my husband, and in a lot of instances, the most honest conversation with people. I'm having
Yeah.
it right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've
And I
no
love it.
problem saying that there are days that I freak out. Oh shit, what did you do? You left your job. And then there are days that I wake up and I say, you know what? This is what I really want to do.
And it's
Why
okay.
am I making this harder on myself than it needs to be?
Yeah.
Um,
And that's like part of your pattern. That's part of my
and now
pattern
it's
too.
changing
Yeah.
where I'm
It's interesting.
starting to embrace more of the latter. And the more that I do, the more joy that I feel, the happier I feel, the freer I feel, the
Right.
more that I can get done and
Right.
everything else. It's kind of like, Nick,
You have more capacity.
why does something have to be bad on one side for it to be good on the other side? Why can't it just be good and then for you personally, subjectively, better on the other side? Right.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. It's better. And um the last part about all of this, and finally it's hitting me, that I thought to myself, if you didn't go from making this to that, but you were actually unemployed and sat here with your laptop, your head on your heart, and started something, okay, what would you be thinking this first year? I would be thinking, I haven't started the last quarter of the year because I started in February. I have had clients. I am going to have published 8 books. I am have earned money.
Right.
Okay. And I'm like, what you've been able to start paying for what you need and investing in what you need to start this business and build a solid foundation. That's a plus right there.
That's right.
Then you have clients. You have no lack of people coming to you and asking you to work with you, even if they don't convert today,
Right.
right? I already see a bright future.
Right. Because
So,
you're being yourself.
like, what are
Yeah.
you're stressing yourself contrary to the evidence,
Yeah.
right? So, um,
That takes a lot of awareness,
a
though.
lot of healing on
So
my,
much.
I kid you not, a lot of healing. That's why I was so excited when you did this topic today. I was like, this could not be more perfectly timed, right? As I am planning out next year's schedule and working towards my goals of completing this year's schedule and sitting and thinking about a realistic goal for next year and the year after, right? Um,
And hopefully that like excites you more than it
it
brings like
does.
dread from how much work it's gonna take. Right? Like
I have
think
never felt that way. There's something
right?
about me that I have never ever felt. I've never even thought about the workload in any respect, whether it's myself or wherever I worked. I was always that person that took on more. And I posted the other day that I did myself a disservice. And I know that I probably did the companies a disservice too, because I'm a fast learner and I like to constantly be diversifying. And
Yeah.
I don't feel that um, all the knowledge of a position should live in one person's head. That scares the shit out of me more than anything else. So if something happens to that person and they go out tomorrow for no reason of their own, what will happen? That
Exactly.
position can't die. You can't tell the customer, well, I'm sorry because so and so is out for 3 weeks. That so it doesn't work that way. So
Right.
I ended up being that person almost everywhere I went. That if I had to sit in another person's seat for a little while and cover, I could. It didn't mean I knew their job to their depth of expertise,
Right.
right? But I always ended up starting, whether it was starting as project coordinator and then going into some of the PM duties and going into permits and then going into sales. But what happened is by the end, I was set spread so thin. And then in all instances, they were ready to bring on an assistant for me because they realized now that I've moved next level. And in order
Yeah.
to take care of those things, but every single time towards the end, I quit the job. Last 3 jobs. Why? And it was like that. It wasn't even like, it all boiled down to part of me expecting a little more understanding for a mistake because of how much I was handling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do understand if I grew slower, I would have paid more attention to detail, maybe because I
Right.
would have had more time. So I own that too.
Yep.
Right? But every single time I left, it was because I felt they didn't appreciate what I was
Doing.
able to
Giving.
bring,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? In, an individualistic way, right? So you have those employees that, God, no matter what, they're going to get it done in this lane. And you have those employees that can cross lanes. And I was always that employee. And most of them wanted me to stay in my lane. And that went against my very nature of
Mhm.
being in many lanes. Think about it. I
Yep.
started a publishing house, an A to Z one stop publishing house. Okay. I have spoken to people who they have a book cover designer, they pay that. They have an editor, they pay that. They have a publisher, they come and pay that. And it's Amazon publishing people on their bookshelf. Okay. Some people just simply do not have the time to learn it, nor the inclination to learn it.
Yeah.
Somebody, they pay a formatter, they pay a promoter. So I decided
You're gonna
from
do
the
it all.
beginning, I've always been doing it all. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it all. So
Yeah.
you come to my company, and because it's bundled, it's more affordable. And you also get to just focus on your writing.
Yep.
Why? Because we're taking care of everything else. Here's your two book concepts. You like this one? Okay, here's two edits. You're ready to format. Edit. Grab the manuscript. Let's edit. You know, I edit, but I also have a gold standard line, 30-year gold standard line editor on my team. And I brought her on quite specifically for certain levels of when you cross a certain level of professionalism or educational or whatever that I feel is beyond me, I
Yep.
feel that my client deserves the best possible editing that I can't provide based on my skill set. I have no problem subcontracting that
Right.
out because I
Right.
want to keep my company at a certain level, right? So to me, it's not about, well, you shouldn't be paying people because you just started your business. No, it's because I want to build my business a certain way.
A certain way.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm still learning to format. I've
Yep.
had clients come to me and I can't format certain things yet because it's not in my skill set yet. I'm
Right.
still learning.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
was not afraid to go into business because I didn't know how to do everything.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, me either. And I'm
No.
with you, right? Like therapists will like hire somebody to make their website, to maintain their website, to answer the phone, to schedule their appointments, to hire a biller to I do all of that myself. I
Yeah.
learned how to build a website myself. I learned how to edit videos myself. I learned how to update things myself, right? Like I learned how to like do medical billing myself to like I do it all. I'm a one-stop shop, same thing. And my business plan is like, I'm not going to pay anybody to do something that I can do myself. Now,
You
that
see, I
doesn't
stopped that. So I have this balance now where I'm starting to learn. You need to
like
let
where
go.
your yeah, like where your strengths are.
I have to let go of, if I want it done right, I got to do it myself. I
Yeah.
cannot do it all, otherwise, I will not scale. Right. So I have to build people into my team that I can trust, like not blindly trust, but as much as close to blindly trust as possible
Yeah.
to maintain the level of work that I want. Right. I want my clients, when they work with somebody on my team, to feel they're actually working with an extension of myself
Exactly.
because
Right.
I'm the one
Exactly.
selling my business. People aren't coming to me because she has the most experience and the most skills. People are coming to me because of the experience they've had with me
Right.
working in my anthologies, 80 people. Those are the ones coming back with me to publish their book.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. This is
Yes,
a
it does.
service based. I give you the professional services, but what I will give you is an exceptional experience,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I've always delivered and what people have said most about my work. I could raise the bar on the skill set. People cannot raise the bar on their attitude or else they're willing to do the work.
Right.
So people see very clearly when somebody is transparent or not,
Oh yeah.
whether they're selling you a pipe dream or not, or whether they're telling you realistically, we could do this now, or we could do it more successfully next year if you take these steps, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
there's just a lot that I chose to do with this company. Like now the anthologies, the first 30 days of royalties are shared amongst the writers. Other publishers I have not heard doing this. Maybe they exist. I'm not saying they don't. And some have said to me, are you nuts? No, this is my way. This is what I choose today to do. I'm not nuts. They pay me upfront to do their editing, their advertising, their formatting. I make my money upfront. The first 30 days is the push.
Right.
That's when everybody's buying the book. They deserve to get something and they will not recoup what they paid,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
But it is the feeling of a reward at the
Yeah.
end of doing something.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's
That
been a
makes sense.
lot of, like I said, and well meaning advice. Well meaning advice.
Sure. Sure. I get it too. Yeah. And it's like I've been at a place where I don't have staff, right? And I can't scale. I for I can't scale on therapy. I don't quite have enough trust to bring on anybody to
A
do
little bit
therapy
different, okay,
and
than me
have it
having
like
editors.
represent my brand. So that's been hard. And I had Nicole Lewis Keeper on last week who works very much with people like me and my trauma and my lack of trust. And then that prevents me from scaling. I'll probably work with Nicole sometime. I've been hustling and doing a bunch myself and pivoting so that basically I don't need to scale my mental health practice, but I can sort of scale in some other ways. But that trust factor is huge, like that you touch on. And like I don't trust hardly anybody. like including my spouse, because I have a lot of stuff. So that's
And
my
I'm
own,
the opposite.
that's my
I
own
lead
stuff
with
that
trust.
that's my
I
own stuff I need to work on, right? Like, and so I'm getting there. But it's in the meantime, it's recognizing I'm still finite, right? I'm still finite human. I have capacity, which means I now really even more than ever, I work within my capacity, but that's still limited, especially if I have to be face to face for whatever it is, which is why I've tried to
yeah.
move into a little bit more work where I don't always have to be face to face, because there's only so much time, right, in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, in which I can be face to face if all my dollars are tied to that. But it's the same, like people that have said, like hire a biller or credentialer to like get you credentialed insurance. It's like, I don't need somebody to do that.
Sarah,
I
sometimes
can do that.
people tell me the goal is to um, get to the point where you could be semi-retired and basically you just manage everything. But here's the problem with that. Every time I've gone to a manager level in my career, it's not that I wasn't a good manager, because the people that worked under me loved me. They loved the way I take care of them, the way I led them and everything.
That's awesome.
What my managers had a problem with is that I still was hands in the work where I needed to be up supervising. And so now I realize that who I am and my strength in being a leader is the fact that I have rolled my sleeves up and I'm also part of the work. I don't know how to work any other way. That is the way that I work and feels best for me,
Yep.
to co-lead,
To be connected.
right?
Yeah.
I am the leader in the end of the day. I'm the one that's motivating, inspiring,
Right.
who's going to
Right.
make the final decisions, who's going to say, okay, nope, now I really have to pull up the brakes, serious accountability here. But I'm the one that wants to be in the trenches doing the actual work too.
Yeah.
I feel that leading by example is the only way to lead. I feel that when you come from the ground up, people do have more respect for you. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't in a leadership role, right? But unless you show that
Yeah.
you've been there too, even in a different situation,
Yeah.
okay, you cannot come in this huffy puffy, I'm better than. And I even say that with my last role, where I think that's the way they took it.
Yeah.
But I was also now all mechanics under me. And these mechanics were sometimes twice my age and in the field twice as long. And here comes this girl in the office, and who does she think she is? But what they didn't know and came to realize later on is that because of my years working in the elevator industry, that I was actually feet on the ground in my boots on construction sites, meeting with project managers, meeting with construction foremen and stuff like that. They
Right.
didn't know that ahead of time. Otherwise, I think they would have accepted me a little better in the beginning.
Right.
So now I am very transparent.
I love
These
that.
are my skills. These are my skills that I'm building. This is what I'm nervous about.
Yep.
This is what I foresee happening.
This is what
I
I'm not
don't
so good at.
I don't know if I could give you what you need at this point. And therefore, I want you to go talk to other publishers, right?
Awesome.
Because
Because I think information is power, right? For anybody to make an informed decision. If they don't know exactly like what they're getting into,
but am
then
I not hurting myself and my company if I say that I'm going to deliver something that I can't deliver for the sake of holding on to a client who's going to pay me?
absolutely,
I
right?
can't bill like that.
Well, that like sullies your reputation, like your trust. Like you can't build trust with you because you're not following through. And yes, lots will do that, right? Like
Yes.
a lot smoke and mirrors, right? A lot of talk, no action. And it's like they feel shitty. Like you feel taken advantage of, you feel like lied to. And in my world, like that's not trauma informed care, like transparency is like
Yeah.
things have to, and you're the same as me, sort of in a like we work with adults, like they're you know what I mean? Like you just you got to treat them with respect and like and recognize like that's what you would want back,
You know
right?
what?
You
I
got to
look
be
at
clear. They're
I
expecting that.
I do not want anyone to, and I have made that very clear by owning my bipolarness in the way that I have, very openly.
Yeah,
I do not want anybody to look at me as deficient because I'm bipolar. I
absolutely.
refuse to look at anybody else as deficient for any reason. I am asking you for that respect. I need to be able
I
to
love
give
that.
that respect as well. And I think that that's a big part of what I leaned back into, which was this. I wanted to show people that having a mental illness, and yes, it's not mental health at this point, bipolar 2 disorder, people, is a diagnosed mental illness. Okay, there's
Yeah.
a difference between a mental illness like schizophrenia and clinical depression and stuff like that to mental health.
Yes.
Mental health is environmental things affecting you, your experiences coming forward with you, and stuff like that that you can heal through. A mental illness is actually something that needs to be addressed with medication. I am not saying for everybody, but mine is, and it works very well for me. But people have this thing where they think if you have a mental illness, you are crazy
Yeah.
and therefore cannot
Can't do
actually
anything.
live a functioning life, far less for successful. Okay, but I am
Yeah.
out here proving it to people. Bullshit.
Mhm.
I went and I opened an LLC, and my bank statements will show you that I have been being paid
Right.
to do what I do. So it is possible. So my biggest
Yeah.
advocacy in starting this business is for people to feel motivated and inspired. And if they don't know what to do, DM me. I think that I'm standing in my own way. Okay, well, I can't help you start your business, but I can help you feel better about yourself and embracing
Who
that
you are.
mental illness that's a part of you.
Exactly, and I'm with you. I'm diagnosed with a mental illness as well, um, which is OCD, and also kind of no way around it without medication. You can do a lot of things, but like I've been in therapy for 20 years.
I take three.
I can't even tell you how many I take. You guys would die.
Brilliant bipolar businesswoman. That's the three. There you go.
Right? You know what I mean? And it's like I'm actually function a lot better on medication because there's
So do
not so
I.
much noise in my brain. I can like focus a little bit more.
Yes.
My mental health disorder or like my mental health is affected by complex PTSD, which is a whole other thing. That couples with my mental illness, which is OCD, and it occasionally drop into clinical depression depending on what's going on in my environment and all of that. And in a lot of ways, like my OCD has served me well in business and success. And in some other ways, I'll spin around or second guess stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, I still have to make the decision.
Mhm,
If it's
mhm.
causing anxiety or whatever the case may be.
I just
This
don't want
is what
people
it
to
is.
like.
I wear the business owner hat, and yeah, and I don't like try to let it hold me back either. And of course, this is what I do. I'm in mental health. I love that you talk about this. This is part of the healing, and people aren't having this conversation enough. Like we know that people aren't having this conversation
Well,
enough.
I think there's a lot of conversations around mental health, but I think
Mhm.
that there are not enough seriously real, transparent. This is the crap that I live every day that I need to live every day, actually, because this is actually who I am. So it ain't crap.
Yeah,
Kind of conversations, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Not the this is what
Oh,
the book says conversations,
right.
not
Or I'm
the
like, I'm this businesswoman conversation. It's like let's line them all, let's line them all up like they're all parts of you, not like they're disembodied or disconnected parts. Like we don't need to just
right.
show up one. Like it's it's all of them. And
But
it's getting
the
people to
mental
understand.
aspect is everything. Okay, so what my
Yes.
medication does to me is it grounds me. I get to wake up in the morning like this and not wake up like this,
Yeah.
fighting to go like this so I could start here. That's what I feel like my medication does for me personally,
Yes.
right?
Agreed.
So
That's how I describe it actually, so it's awesome. I describe, medication like that's great, like that it kind of what how there are 2 ways that I say it. One, it's like you don't have to spend so much work trying to pull yourself out of the hole, like you just said, because you
it's
start.
exhausting.
That part is exhausting. Yeah, so that like you said, like I'm down here and then to get up here, right? It's like you gotta pull yourself out of the hole so people get that. And then the other way I describe it is, with, um that it's an assist, right? Like a dolly when you're moving something heavy. like a big
Yes.
box or piece of furniture. So the medication is the dolly. It doesn't mean you don't have to do the work to pull the heavy thing. It just makes pulling it so much easier.
Mhm.
And that really resonates with people. And that's true myself. Like I've spent years not on medication and years on medication and 20 plus years in therapy myself, let alone all the therapy I do for other people. And I'm very, very self-aware. And I can even look at those times and know that I felt more peace or it was less work for me the times I was on medication, right? Like there have been times where I felt like I could come off and I do, and I'm off for a while, but then something happens and whatever. And it's just like, and it gets really hard
We
then
need
to
people to
manage
not
it.
feel like medication is taboo.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
It's my 3 pills, and I take it in the morning, and in 5 seconds it's down my throat and I don't think about it again. I take a vitamin when I feel like it, or B12 when I remember. But the point is,
Right.
I'm kind of bad at that part of my self care, like the eating and stuff. Like, I admit it, I'm terrible with that. But the other parts of my self care, I'm good with. But the point is, I don't have to think about it after 5 seconds every morning. I
Right.
am not going to let somebody make me feel bad about it for the other 23 hours or whatever,
55
right?
minutes of the day.
Because they
Yeah.
aren't living the rest of that time in my day where
And
I
in
am
your body.
struggling, where I am feeling so excited and I have no fucking idea why. And then next minute, I just want to go leave my office and go sit in my car and cry. So, and
Yeah.
I am like, it's like a bystander going,
What's going
who
on?
the hell is that? What is wrong
Exactly.
with that woman? So until people really, so my medication, don't worry about it. Unless my behavior is affecting you, my medication is not your problem. That's my problem.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
and like you just said, for mental illness are things that, and you guys know if you've watched me before, big neuroscience geek over here. So we can look at the brain of somebody with OCD, with bipolar disorder, with schizophrenia, and say, oh, this isn't working well. This part isn't working well. This part's working too much. Then give somebody medication, right? Or they take it and take another picture of their brain and go, oh, this is working well. This isn't working too much. Now we see this side light up, right? Whatever. And so, that's the science that backs like the experience that you feel when taking medication. Like we
yes,
can see it in the brain then.
yeah.
So I'm with you. There need not be stigma around it. It's amazing how many people do have stigma around it. And even clients in therapy with me would be like, oh, I can't believe I have to be on this medication for the rest of my life. And I sort of sit, I let them have their experience, but where I'm sitting, I'm like, I don't care. Give me all the pills. Like if
To
it's,
me, the other way around, which is,
yeah,
thank God there is something there to help me.
thank
And,
God.
the last
And
thing
that
I
I
would
can
say,
get it. And that I can get it, that I can
yeah,
access it and I can
that's
take
the
it.
other thing. I
Yeah.
guess mhm. I think the last thing I would say is, do not be afraid if you have a mental illness to go start a business because you don't think that you have what it takes, or you think other people are going to say, well, she's crazy, I don't want to work with her. I am living proof that that is crap, because I have people that have worked with me, that work with me, that started following me because I am bipolar. And it has never been a thing for them to not work with me
It's
because
never
I
been a
am.
barrier. It's never been a barrier.
All right. So don't ever feel that way, not just about starting a business, but about anything.
About any of your challenges or lived experiences that you think are barriers, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not. Might you need a coach? Might you need a guide? Might you need support? Sure. But they're not barriers that you can't work through or overcome or do your own work and be
Exactly.
successful. Absolutely. And if you guys check in to my show last week with Nicole Lewis Keever, she'll tell you in research and all the years she's been doing it, it's more likely individuals, particularly with past lived experience of traumas, become entrepreneurs. On like, it's where it leads them to find their own safety in work a lot of the time. So it's absolutely possible and honestly more likely, based on your lived experience, that you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur, because those people like have the drive and the desire, and hopefully, even with like past lived experience of trauma or mental illness, maybe more self-awareness than other people as a result of that, of a result of having to like look at that or look at that part of you and work through it potentially. Or in my case, a lot of it fueled my success. Now there's like a flip side to that. So now I'm sort of getting in the place where there's more balance and feeling like a lot more at peace at the boundaries and structures I've created on work for myself, about the way that I work, who I work with, how I work, showing up a lot more authentically. Like all that feels like good peace, balance in my nervous system. And so now I actually feel like completely unstoppable, because even my own stuff like then isn't getting in my way. And whatever else was fueling it before, mine was a lot like, I want to get out and not rely on anybody. And so
I
that's
see the book up there.
yes.
I just noticed the book up there.
I keep them up there. Yes. Yes. Love that. I loved writing that story. That was fun. And
It was a beautiful story, and especially for people who heal through music, it was incredible. There was a lot of identity with it for people who heal through music.
yes. And I love it. It's honestly, it's pulled me out of that hole more times than I can count. It's kept me from throwing myself off a bridge, like it's can do something else with that energy, like in the music, right? And like that's
Mhm.
the other fun thing about being an entrepreneur. And like you were saying, it's like finding the way you work, finding what works for you, finding when and how, right? And for you, and a lot of my clients like are the same way. It's like I could work for an hour or two, and then I need to take a break, like to be fresh, and
Mhm.
that's like to be creative, maybe like to and you're a writer and understand it's like we got to give ourselves space sometime. And so I
Right.
love that you could find the way that you work, and me find the way that I work, and anybody else. And then that's actually successful for you. You're maybe actually going to be more successful than in whatever corporate company or agency job you have, because it can work for you instead of you working for it, and that kind of thing. All right. As we wrap up here, and at the very end, you can tell us like what you have coming up and things that you have going on. But I've been asking everybody this, and I'm curious, and I really like everybody's answers. So for you, what is one value you live by?
Oh, goodness. One value I live by. Oops. Well, that would be alarm clock. So that is one of my values, which is like I have all the live shows I attend set up on alarm clock, by the way,
Look at you.
so I don't miss them. I don't always attend them, but I know that they're happening. Um, you know, respect, respecting my integrity. I think that my integrity
Love
has
it.
always been the center of the seesaw. Every time I'm feeling out of alignment, um, I go back to my integrity, and my integrity for me is quite simply what makes me feel good. And every single time, so like I had to reconcile in my mind, what I charge, what I should charge,
Oh gosh,
what
right.
you know, you know, and then when I plugged in all my information and what it is I do offer and how much time I have in, and it literally came back saying you should be charging $12,000 to $20,000. And I wrote back, well, what about mid range for affordability? And it came back saying $6,000 to $9,000.
Dear
So I said,
God.
okay, well that's better. But I want to marry it somewhere in the middle, right? Which
Yeah,
is I want to be able to give exceptional services. I always like to give more. That is a choice.
right,
And I want to keep it affordable. So I want to keep it there. And I don't want people to feel like they can't work with me because they can't afford me.
right,
So, um, and that is not putting myself on the cheap end or the expensive end or saying that I'm diminishing the perception of my value. I, at this
that's the
point,
value you live by,
that's
right?
that's exactly that's the value that
Yes,
I live by. So do not approach because you're afraid. And if I can't, because I say, hey, listen, at this point in time, I simply cannot because I
right,
have a bottom line to sustain. But I
right.
know where my bottom line to sustain is, and it is
Yes,
certainly not at a point where I want to ever feel like I'm being advantageous of gaining, I want to feel that I really earned that gain. And that is my integrity right there.
Yeah, and I love it. And something we talk about in my trauma informed network of professionals, I think like really falls in line with that is your values and alignment, right? And I think your integrity is that. Like, what are your values? Are you working live and living within that? Then you're going to feel like you're in alignment and feel like you can uphold that. And I also, yeah, I think that that's huge. And it's also like your name and your brand is that
Yeah.
integrity as well. And so that's part of your business model essentially. And the authenticity I love, right? And it's like when you can be authentic, then you find the authenticity in others, and then you get people that you actually align with in business and work, and they find you, right? Or like
Hmm.
you somehow you guys like get connected. I mean, that's how we're connected, like totally randomly. And then have continued to see, but I've been connected to other people too, but don't continue to work with them because alignment was not there.
Yeah.
Right. And so like if you continue to work with somebody or whatever the case, colleagues or customers, like whatever it might be, it's because there's alignment there, and that we share a value in how we work, what, how we do it with people, whatever that looks like. And I can appreciate that. Yeah, I love that integrity. That's a great one. All right, as we wrap up here, I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Touched on
Thank
so
you.
many things about what's healing and with yourself, and this was good. I loved everything that you had to share.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What do you have coming up? How can people like find you? What are you doing next? Like, are you doing an anthology next? Like, tell us, what are your upcoming projects?
You can always find me on LinkedIn. I have other ways you can reach me as well, but LinkedIn's the easiest. I live there. Um,
Right.
Anthology wise, for Thanksgiving, the 27th, the third annual Legacy Chronicles is coming out. Um, um,
Awesome.
Tomorrow, I have a book launch for the conclusion, the third part of the Silent Canvas, which is a psychological thriller that I
Nice.
worked on with an author this year. This is actually his fourth book with me this year because he did horror stories as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Um,
I remember
and
seeing
then
your stuff.
January 1st is Pageants, Pride and Prejudice. And that is all around beauty pageants and the stigmas that surround that.
Oh,
And I'm learning a lot that these beauty pageants are not only face beauty pageants. There are beauty pageants for disabilities, for
mm,
people with various challenges. There's wheelchair pageant disability pageants.
awesome.
So I am very excited because a lot of my anthologies is around um, some type of advocacy
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what it means for me.
Love it.
And so I have a couple other things coming up next year. So I'm just excited. The Person Behind the Pen series is going very well. Nick
The
Nevin
person behind the
Control.
pen is Nick's podcast. You guys should check that out. Yeah, she's
Yes.
regular with her podcast.
Yes. So there's, a lot coming down. My merch line launched this year. So I'm very excited about that too. Um,
Did you
yeah.
design?
Sorry.
Did you design the merch line?
No, I did not. I worked with a designer on the merch line. And I have a t-shirt that says Guiding Brilliant Writers Book Club for people who haven't written. And there's also a t-shirt that says I'm published with Guiding Brilliant Writers,
Nice.
which I think that is such an opener for people when they see you out with a shirt. What do you mean I'm published with? It's such a great conversation starter.
Oh yeah.
And
I
then
love
there's
that.
other things, my water bottles over there. But
I
yeah,
can't wait
there's
to
a
see it.
bunch of other merch. And I'm very excited about that period.
I'm excited too. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see that. That's fun. That's a fun new update. I didn't know that. So I love learning that.
Oh wait, last thing, and
Yeah.
this I have to say. So Jason Forhan, my dearest buddy, who's also Sarah's dearest buddy, and I'm an advisory board member. I know that you work on the board as well. I'm sorry. So
Okay.
we're getting together to do a transformation kitchen charitable cookbook in March. I'm looking to launch this on March 1st. Um, Guiding Brilliant Writers is I'm going to invest all the time to do the publishing part, all the promotion, the book
Nice.
cover, everything else. Editing and everything will be done through my company as well. Um, we are asking for
Okay.
people to come forward, reach out to me or Jason. We'll give you the link. You can contribute, donate a recipe to the book, right? And you'll get the full page color picture of your completed dish, a little picture of you at the bottom with like a little 3-line bio. The next side will have your ingredients and your prep. So
Nice.
that is a free, and we're asking you to donate. The other side of this is we are looking for sponsors,
Okay.
and the formatting cost for this book is going to be exorbitant because it is such a big book because nobody
Yeah,
buys a cookbook this size. Um,
that's fair. Yeah,
yes,
right.
and I
New
have
recipes.
my clients, and I also have to carry on with my work too.
Yeah.
And so I'm investing a great deal amount of time and energy into this. So we are looking for sponsors, and
Okay.
I will say it flat out if you don't care, it's $500 to sponsor. And you're getting a full 12-week media tour from January 1st to March 31st. This book is going to be sold at the second annual Cooking Up Change in New York City, where this fundraiser is going to be holding 200 people.
Oh,
And a lot of the people who donate recipes will be there, so they'll be able to sign your book as well.
nice.
And all the proceeds, of course, from the book sale of the book is going to Transformation Kitchen.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool.
there is nowhere that you're going to pay $500 to have a social media tour across platforms by 4 different people who are working on this book together, Derek Shrokton and Jerry Ryan as well. And there's just going to be live show appearances and everything. And
Awesome.
your company logo and name goes on the back cover of the book.
Geez, so much. The very first thing you said was like, oh, I have a recipe. But then you said more. And so I'll be more involved. Like, I will absolutely be more involved. I'm excited about this. So, do you have like, how many recipes are you trying to get?
Oh my God, we would love to get 120 recipes,
120
but
recipes. Okay.
120 recipes. Right now, we're working into the last quarter, going into the first quarter.
Yep.
Um, and so just managing where everyone's at, because of course everyone's always busy, but we're giving our time and our energy to this.
Yes.
Will we go with less than 120 recipes? Of course.
Yeah.
But we would like to get 120 recipes. And there are people that have already signed up, like Chef Scully, Jill Sullivan, for example. I'm in touch with Chef Brett. I'm hoping that works out as well. So, we're really pushing this thing hard.
Awesome. Let me ask, I don't know if you know, do you know when do you guys have a date for the um Feed for Good in after the cookbook comes out next year? Do you have a date
I
yet?
believe it's March 28th. Jason can throw that in the comments to confirm, but I believe it's in March 28th.
Okay. It's good for me to
And of
know.
course, I'm going to be there with my husband, and we're just thrilled.
Well, if I know the date in advance, I might be making the trip. I love me some New York.
Awesome.
And it's not hard for me. I can get on the train, take it up and come back. So, I'm excited about this. Thank you for all the details for that. Yeah,
Awesome.
guys. So, HR for You and Transformation Kitchen are the organizations that Chasen has started. He talked about it on my show at the end of September. Nic is on the board. I'm the director of student wellness. And it's awesome to be a part of this organization. And especially while we're in this time of like food insecurity and job insecurity and all kinds of things, you guys want to know this organization if any of that matters to you. Like this is going to be a tangible thing that's going to help people, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of what we're all about. Nic, Jason, me, tangible things that are actually good, helpful, healing, uplifting for other people. We all sort of do that in our own way, and it's awesome getting to like cross right Venn diagram, like all the work we get to do in all these different avenues. And like this is the community I've created, guys. Like other than being a therapist, like I get to do this stuff and I get to be a part of this thing, right? And I get to work with Nic on this, and I get to work with Trevor on that book, and I get to work with Jason in this capacity, right? And I get to work with Julie and Nicole and Katie and all my other folks over there in another capacity. And this is what fills my cup after 15 years of doing therapy, and kind of like you, like I would like to do more, but they want me to do this. And like, I needed more space for my other skills, for creativity, for reaching and talking to other people, for working with other people. Right. And this is one of the ways entrepreneurship has been healing for me, because I can actually connect with people that I have alignment with in our values, and mostly in our values and in the way we work, which just, bleeds over into the rest of life. But we know what the work world is like out there, folks. And like, to find genuine, down to earth people that just want to do good, for the people around them and their wheelhouse of skills, are my people. Those are Nic's people. This is why we work together on these things. So, well, thank you for all that information and what you have coming up. Nic is your person, guys. If you want to write, like, yes, I've gotten to write 2 anthologies with Nic, one where she was not the publisher and one where she was the publisher. And it's been lovely all around. And given any of her other topics, I would certainly write with her again. It's just a matter of timing, right? And like other projects I have going on and having that line up. But absolutely good experience, especially if you're like first time writer, haven't been published before. Definitely it's a great place to learn and do. So you're going to learn about the process and do, and she's going to help you along the way. Definitely check out the Transformation Kitchen stuff. Check out Person Behind the Pen. I love that podcast. I think it's great with her writers. And thank you again so much for giving me your time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll be on next week with another new guest. This is somebody you guys like haven't heard me talk about before. So November is all about new takes on old issues, and I have some good guests with some awesome topics. So stay tuned for next week. Same time, same place, 11 o'clock Eastern for the Healing Hour. Nic, what's your website? State it real quick so people can find you.
Definitely go on LinkedIn. So I do have a website, and it's actually Nic nicthegpw.com, but I am not like up and running yet.
Okay. So go to LinkedIn to find Nic, and everything will be from there. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for everybody who chimed in with your comments. I appreciate that.